Okay, Reggie, before we get into this week's topics, did you have anything you wanted to discuss or you want to get right into it?
Now let's get right into it, baby. Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to all you cancerous birthdays now. I know we're in the month for cancer, so shout out you guys. And also wanted to throw a shout out to my grand. Y'all see, I'm wearing my son. I'm a UC San Diego Papa. So congratulate to my son for graduating from UC San Diego last month with a major in computer science engineering. So shout out to my son, Reggie Wright III. Other than that, let's get going.
Okay. News broke that a Snoop biopic by Alan Hughes is on the way. I wanted to get your thoughts and your reaction to the news that movie is now or is about to be in the works.
Yeah, I kind of told y'all that's what he's been doing. I've been saying that. That's why he's been doing all this rewriting of history and changing up stuff and putting this out there on interviews and stuff, and putting out his spin so it can all be documented his for his story. Makes a lot of sense to why he was featured so much uh, into into Tupac and his mom's biography or their documentary, which I don't have a problem with. I understand how it works. Um, Networks and people pay you a little more, give you a little more, give you a better shot when you have big names to it. Y'all ain't never heard me say Snoop Dogg name is not a household name. Uh, and so he's definitely that. So I get the uh, Dr. Dre, and the Snoop Dogg's Alan Hughes putting them in the documentary. So yeah, I just hear that a lot of people get mad at me for always trying to correct Snoop and say this. I just try to tell you how it was. It's for y'all to determine who you believe and who you don't. And, a lot of people, just like the Republican parties and Democrat parties, y'all want to take sides and say, even though might not even agree with the person, or you just or you don't agree with the statements or whatever, just because you don't like the party or the person, then it's all bad. That's not me at all. I just shoot it. I try to shoot it straight from the hip, or my truth. My truth ain't always the correct truth. I'll be the first to tell you. Just my opinion. So that's all. I understand rewriting history, and this is why I get mad, but and correct it. And I always say Reggie's truth, my truth, what I heard, what I believe, what I observed. And so, yeah, it's going to be good. I love to see him do it. I hope he put his ex bodyguard and get him to talk. I forget my boy named Malik. I hope he have him a part of it. Sean Dog, Big C Style, Big Flossie, his family. I hope he just don't try to include him and Dr. Dre and all of them, because that's not just what it is. Hey, it's a dude named Bill Handy that none of y'all know about. Bill Handy from Compton. Y'all don't know. That's why I always laugh when people say, Snoop would have did this and did this without Suge and all that. See, that's what y'all don't know. There was somebody that already had paperwork on Snoop Dogg. This dude named Bill Handy from Compton, actually I can't call Bill Handy a Southside Compton crip, but that's where he lived. That's where his family grew up at. He just got out of the feds. He had got a 30-year sentence, but he was fucked up like me. He got messed up in the pen like me. He had a bad reaction to some medication or some shit like that. But my boy Bill Handy. Anybody know that? He the one that had the car wash on Long Beach and Alondra for the longest. Handy's car wash. He is the one that had paperwork and had Snoop Dogg signed to his label that Suge had to go. And because of the Compton thing, the relationship with, and because Bill is about his money, and went and got him released from paperwork. See, there's little stuff like that. hope Snoop elects not to forget and to give credit to people like that that helped them out. But yeah, yeah, it's going to be done. And I throw stuff out there just to remind people and just to throw stuff out. So if Alan Hughes watch this or whatever, he can be like, hey, who's this Bill Handy they're talking about that you forgot about, you never talk about? What's the story behind that? What's the story about behind the 213, who most of y'all don't really know, was really Nate Dogg Warren and Snoop. You know, get those stories out there. Warren G always gets slighted a little bit in a lot of things, especially from the Death Row side, not from the Long Beach guy side, to be honest. But Warren G was a very instrumental part to bringing Snoop to Death Row. I always wondered, the main question I always wondered, why everybody blames Suge for not having Warren G signed to Death Row. He tried to say it now about paperwork was bad and all of this. Those niggas didn't care about no paperwork because nobody was big enough to know. The reason why Warren G wasn't signed because of Dre. His brother was a partner. Y'all get Sharita to tell y'all the truth behind that. She'll tell y'all that it was Dr. Dre. Y'all hit her up on IG or whatever. That always prevented Suge from signing Warren G to Death Row. So there's little stuff like that that I hope gets told and be told the truth. How they were the ones secretly writing for Warren G. Anyway, that ain't nothing about the documentary, so I'll get away from that. But there's just a lot of stuff, y'all. A lot of stuff.
Okay. Charlie Baltimore did an interview on Art's channel where she talked about how she had a incident with Suge, where he called her Hollywood or something like that, and her ex-husband was there. I know you had talked about a time where they met Ja Rule and all them. Were you around when this happened, or do you remember what she's talking about by any chance?
Yeah. Shout out to Charlie Baltimore, right? Ain't she the perfect side piece? She know her role. I kind of like Charlie because she knows her role. I know that she don't talk about Faith or Little Kim a lot. She just talk about her position, which is shout out. But I just want to clarify the two incidents that's out there. I mean, there were several incidents later where Suge and Irv Gotti was at studios together. They became friends, just like she said. There was two times that you guys know of that's been spoken on. The one time when I explained to you guys how Jimmy Iovine told Irv that he needed to get in contact with Suge to get a song that they wanted to sample and use. That they had to get permission from Suge to do that, where Irv Gotti called and to the office, and I got him and Suge on the phone, and Suge told me just to ask him where he's at, and we showed up to the studio. That's when he went up there, and they were there, and y'all done heard Ja Rule and all of them stories about that Irv story, and Griff was there. I even think we have a segment with where Crooked Eye talked about that. That's a true story, the way all of those were told. You know, little exaggerations, but like a lot of people do, or have a different perception of conversations and all of that, because it was all love when we went there. That's the one time. That was the first time that they met Ja Rule and Irv and Griff. But that's not the time she's talking about. She's talking about another time when everybody was all love and cool and all of that. And they was at the studio. Studio was at Burbank. It's called Enterprise. Enterprise Studio. And we were all up there. We went up there. And I'll be honest, y'all. I always thought, and I didn't know that guy, the incident that she's speaking of, because dudes wasn't moving like that and talking here like that. But she explained it, that, you know, he was just defending her for Suge calling him Hollywood, which I totally get. You know, you're talking about his wife. You know, you can't go home and wear that muscle shirt if you don't defend your woman. But she was sitting in the back seat of the car with Irv Gotti, and they were in like a town car or a Mercedes. But I remember they had a driver, and her and Irv was sitting in the car together. I always know that Charlie Baltimore and Irv was messing around. So when she kept saying her husband, and she had a conversation while Irv was there, whoa, that threw me for a loop. I was like, wow, now Charlie, I know you and Irv was messing around. So that's Irv is a snake. But anyway, but that was my boy. Irv's a good dude. Him and Chris, those are two good dudes. Two good dudes. But I'm saying all this to say that, yeah, as far as the part where she said there was some confrontation or something like that on the conversation, I don't remember that, but everybody always stood away. You know, we just stood in the area. Niggas wasn't all up there like listening to word for word that was going on and all of that. Niggas don't know what happened. So if that's what her dude came back and reported to her, that was it. Who am I to say, you know, to come up here and deny it? But trust me, Murder Inc., The Inc., Death Row, The Row, or whatever y'all want to call those two labels, was all good until the end, where until after, to be honest, they got in trouble. Is when Suge started breaking away and pushing away from them. But prior to that, those two niggas was making moves and making stuff happen to the point where I think their relationship is still going to be okay and back good, because Irv just got a lot of big money from Kevin Lyles, and he gonna have to win again on some production side for some movie stuff, and he gonna hit a home run. And by the time Suge is ready to seriously do something, because that shit that all that casting call and all that y'all seeing, scam. That's a Suge Knight scam. Okay, today is July the 10th, 11th. I don't know what day this episode gonna drop. Guarantee y'all gonna look back at 2023 and be like, damn, that motherfucking Reggie told us that's just some scam. A 10 episode, no, 10 years, a 10 season deal. Motherfucking 50 Cent can't get a 10 season deal with all the powers as much as they done hit. I don't even think The Sopranos went 10 seasons. Oh shit! It's very few series that go 10 years, but 10 years, 10 seasons, whatever, however y'all want to call it. Very few that goes that long. Trust me. Trust me. But y'all keep going to the casting calls. Y'all keep going. Try to get on. I ain't trying to hate, but it don't make sense to me. But going to say, but by that time, Irv gonna be hitting home runs from his deal with 300 with Kevin Lyles and all that. He got that big $150 million deal, and Irv gonna be fucking back with Death Row and Suge, guarantee y'all. And so that's what I remember about the incident. I'll get back to the question and stop the Reggie rambling and gossiping. I'll get back to the question. I don't recall. I'm not saying it did happen. I'm not saying it didn't happen. But I do remember it. She's not lying. She seemed to be coming off truthful on what she remembered about things. And all I'm getting from the interview is that Charlie is a hell of a side piece. That's what I get from that interview that's going on over there, that she know her role and she plays it well. Perfect side chick. Yep.
Okay. In our previous series of interviews, we had James on, as we usually do. A lot of people in the comments asked this, so I figured I would go ahead and ask why you never comment or speak about the FG and James situation.
Oh. Well, number one, because y'all always say, well, you're always trying to expose snitches and this and say this and stuff like that. Well, generally the people that are calling them snitch or something like that it's factually proven. Or number two, I know about it firsthand. And three, and more importantly, the person is probably dead or not alive. I'll play y'all some audio from a guy that recently spoke on James. Y'all know Gangster. Y'all know my feelings towards Gangster because I by no means can ever take anything away from him. I know he kind of tapped him and did a interview that he pulled down respectfully. You know, my boy Top Media, who I keep saving him and his channel, but he like to go and steal other people's content and post it, which you need to stop doing that, especially if you're going to disrespect any of my friends, Top Media. But I saved you. You know how I saved your channel. As I always do to niggas. I just don't know how many dudes' channels I'll be helping and saving in the background. But what I'm going to do, though, is say he puts up something where Gangster, and I missed the stream that he found, where Gangster said that, you know, James is straddling the line, you know, because he always wear red hats and all of that. Well, man can wear whatever he want to wear. But you never hear him on there saying, on Pyru, or I put that on the hood, or, you know, that's when you know, I see other motherfuckers doing things, always cuz and what's up cuz and all of that. You don't hear. So that's being active or trying to be something more than what you are, in my opinion. Not saying Gangster does that, because I don't know. But that's what his complaint was about James. That James is straddling the line. And then he told me he denounced Game in, you know, I said that he denounced Game in 1991. He said he was in jail in 1992. Well, I'm sure you did denounce Gaines in 92 when you're on parole, even if you were still active or whatever. But hey, Gangster. Like I said, OG, baby Gangster. Nobody in Compton, you'll be an idiot to try to take anything away from what that man's reputation was. Reggie Wright ain't gonna do it because I don't do that. But I'm gonna use your words right now because I know you're an OG and how you were and your get down and your pedigree in the county jail. Because I was in there. I went in there when you had niggas on checking the 4800 module. You and Marcellus when y'all was cellies. I remember those days. Me and my dad walked through there one time when he came and hollered at you on some friendship. Not saying that you were talking to him about that, because you never was like that. Nobody, the Wrights can never say anything like that about you. But listen to the words you said.
You know, every time I come up to him on the motherfucking YouTube, he on there trying to talk about somebody this, somebody that. You know, man, mind your own motherfucking business. You trying to be the police or the internet? You know what I'm saying? Because that's all it's boiling down to. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, whoever did whatever they did, they people know what they did. And if they people ain't dealing with it, it don't matter because you ain't finna deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you should just leave it alone.
Okay. Y'all heard the words. Y'all heard what he said. This is an OG from Compton. He ain't no keyboard warrior. He ain't no new school gangbanger. I was gonna say Crip or something like this. This is somebody that in the 80s and 90s had juice in the city of Compton. I'm not saying Compton Crips are better than LA Crips. I ain't going all of that. I'm not getting into that. But he was known like that. Y'all heard the words that he said? This is how OGs that I know. This is why I said about FG when I slipped up and used the word to saying he was acting like something because he didn't deal with it or confront it himself. This is where my training come from. These are the guys when I was a cop. No, fuck that. When I was walking the streets before I was a cop, when I was a jailer, still the same payment and shit that everybody else went through in Compton. And then when I was a cop, and then when I was hanging around gang members daily, from Crips and Pyrus, mainly Long Beach Crips and some Compton Pyrus and stuff. And then when my ass got stupid and got in the marijuana game, dealing with those Great Street niggas that I fuck with. Now, and my niggas from Hoover that I was fucking with tough. Anybody know me, they know who I'm talking about. That was around during that time. And so that takes you all the way up to 2018 on Reg. That philosophy that Gangster just said about snitching and being a rat, one trying to play it one more time for y'all.
Every time I come up to him on the motherfucking YouTube, he on there trying to talk about somebody this, somebody that. Man, mind your own motherfucking business. You trying to be the police or the internet? You know what I'm saying? Because that's all it's boiling down to. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, whoever did whatever they did, they people know what they did. And if they people ain't dealing with it, it don't matter because you ain't finna deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you should just leave it alone.
That's the words that I go by and why I never comment either way on the James and FG situation. That's how you deal with it if you don't know. If you weren't one of the ones sitting in the courtroom listening, or if you wasn't there. All this other shit, speculation is bullshit. Y'all look at the Tony Sopranos and stuff like that. Tony wasn't ready to kill pussy until when? Till he heard it himself. Tony went 2 to 3 episodes before he was convinced that we got to kill pussy. 2 to 3 episodes. You just don't put people's names out there and do that until you're 100%. A rat, I keep telling y'all, in the world that I've been around, it's the lowest thing on the earth. Call me a rat to my face or spit in my face will get you killed. To my face. Type it. Y'all type it all the time. You motherfuckers hiding over there in the UK or somewhere. Y'all do it all the time. But a nigga that knows me or been around won't say it to my face, guarantee you. Fuck that. And I won't say it to a nigga face either because I know what those words mean. Bound first.
We had talked a couple months ago about, well, you had talked about mainly, Keith Murray when he was doing an interview and he was saying some really outlandish things. A video recently surfaced of him, which we'll play, but I wanted to get your reaction to it, where it shows, how he's doing now.
Yo, Keefe, man. Yo, Keefe.
Are you kidding me?
Yo, Keefe.
Keith Murray?
Yeah, that's the Keith Murray.
No, back up.
Yo, Keith.
What the fuck is he on?
Yeah. And that was a day or two before the BET Awards when he went out there and performed. That was taped. Or that it resurfaced and it was fresh. It was on IG, somebody's IG. Wow. And I love it when y'all call me, oh, Keefe is clean. Keefe ain't never did nothing but alcohol. Keefe, I love you motherfuckers in the comments the way y'all defend people. I love it. I wish y'all come back and when y'all do all of that. Reggie, you always talking shit about people. You always lying on people. And then y'all never come back and say, all right, Reggie. You right. You all right, Reg. All right, Reg. Y'all never do that. I'll respect you if you did that. Y'all are so quick to defend people y'all don't know, never met, but never seen before. Y'all crazy. You keyboard warriors are some crazy motherfuckers. But yeah, I mean, I told y'all that Keefe had issues and that's what was going on when he was over there and spitting out that stuff. And how he was fucking every woman that you ever heard of, right? When niggas talking like that, man, I'm telling y'all, they not real. They're not real. Now, in fairness, I also said Keith and Eric Sherman were were also gay. Well, he told y'all in his own words. His homeboy got in the middle between him and a female. In the middle of the bed. Which one of your homeboys was that enough comfortable when you about to get down with a chick to say, move over, homie? I'm getting in the middle, not next to her on the side, but in the middle. Man, come on. Keep it real, y'all. What would y'all do your homeboy, your brother, if they did some shit like that? And your sister might can do it. Your homegirl might can do it. But another dude? Keep it real, y'all. All right. But Reg's always alive making up shit on people. Okay. I'll take that. I'll be trying to tell you, I'll be speaking facts to y'all, telling y'all about these people that y'all look up to and worship. Some fucking weirdos, y'all. Weirdos.
Okay. I sent you some lyrics, which we'll put on the screen, but just to give our viewers context, these are, it's a verse that Tupac wrote that I don't think he recorded, but people are going to say it's not Tupac's handwriting, which they're correct. It is not Tupac's handwriting. All of his notebooks and journals and track lists and all that stuff are in Atlanta at a library. And there's somebody who lives down there that you're not allowed to bring a camera in. You're not allowed to bring your phone or any of that stuff, but you can look through all this stuff. So what this guy does is he goes in there and pretty much writes down word for word exactly what's on the notebook. Like he writes exactly what he's seeing on the notebook that Tupac wrote. And before people say, oh, he made it up, this guy's been doing it for like 4 years now. Probably about 50% of the things at the Wake Me When I'm Free exhibit he had posted before, and it was exact. But these lyrics are in regards to Stretch, and I just wanted to get your comments on them, Reggie.
I'm tired of arguing with people on YouTube about it. Everybody want to say, oh, Tupac ain't had nothing to do with Big Stretch. Tupac, that was a drug deal, went bad. That was just, all right. I ain't never once said that Tupac did do it, or my homeboy from the West Side, Paru, did do it. That's dead, so I ain't snitching. I done heard a few gangsters say, when you say something about people that's dead, it's good. I done heard Big U, and I done heard a couple other people say that. Oh, if they dead, it ain't snitching. Okay. Y'all, did y'all read the, matter of fact, John, would you read the lyrics for me before I get into it?
Sure. The part in regards to Stretch is, the lines are, when you're through, I got another crew to murder next. I put a hit out on the dead squad and killed Stretch. And the dead squad is a reference because Stretch's rap group were called the Live Squad. So he called them the dead squad.
Tell y'all be talking too much. Tell y'all I talk too much on this goddamn YouTube. Hey, Tupac wrote it. He scratched it out. I don't even know if he ever recorded the song, if it's somewhere hidden or whatever. I don't think he ever recorded because y'all would have been to caught that and heard that. But this is something that Tupac allegedly wrote. But he scratched out. Y'all see the scratch out where he crossed out. He killed Lil Stretch or Stretch. I think he must have thought about it. But yeah, we'll go with that. It was a drug deal going bad. He always says a drug deal going bad. So could the dude from LA or Compton, could he been the one to go in to buy the drugs? Y'all ever thought about that? Y'all niggas, man. Y'all funny to me. Y'all funny to me. Y'all funny to me. All I'll say again, and I'll reiterate it, 1 year to the exact date. The exact date that Big Stretch got killed was a year prior to another incident regarding Mr. Shakur. What was that, y'all? What was that? What happened? What happened that day? Y'all research it. Y'all learn. But I try to tell you, I told y'all this a long time ago on live streams and everything. I never said I know. I don't know. Wasn't a part of nothing like that. But I know. If that ain't enough proof for y'all, and this is the stuff that's surfacing up later. This is not something we knew about or anything like that. But I know y'all say John made it up. John did. John, you sitting up there rewriting songs and shit like that, making up Tupac songs. If you wrote that song right there, John, you a hell of a songwriter. Y'all read all of that sheet that's on there. If John set up and created that, then John in the wrong business, huh? Because I know that's what y'all saying. I know it already. Have those lyrics been spit out before, John?
A few of the lines were on the first version of "Hit 'Em Up" that he recorded in October, but I would say like 75% of it are lyrics he never recorded,
Or
on a
that we
song
know
that
about.
we know of.
Or that we know about. Gotcha.
Correct.
Hey, y'all. I just try to bring receipts. I just try to back up my saying. But hey, okay. Who cares? Who cares? I know there's other lyrics where he say, well, something about, I guess your new crew or your new friends wanted you there. So I know y'all gonna say that. All right. Against all odds, what he said. But he don't take credit for it. Okay. All right. So I get y'all. I understand. Let's tell y'all the interaction that Reg saw. Reg police ass mind saw. Reg police ass knowing, oh, that nigga around. Oh, that nigga, why that nigga so tired? Why is his daddy going with us to the Super Bowl? No. All right. Sorry about that, homie from the West Side. You know, me and you talked about it. Yeah.
Okay. Some audio of Biggie came out where he is talking about the quad incident at the Quad Studios with Tupac, and he says, "We'll play the audio." Okay. But so listen to this.
It went like this, you know what I'm saying? I was upstairs at Quad. We in the back chilling. Next thing you know, we hear, yo, Tupac got shot. And I set him up. Man, that's crazy. I don't know whether he was trying to hide or was scared. I don't know what was going on in his head. And I want to apologize. Probably what really went there. And he shot himself. Yeah, he ain't really get shot in his head. He got pistol whipped. You know what I'm saying? I'm hearing all this, and I'm like, damn. I think was just getting a little bit too happy with the situation. Trying to make movies. Everything was a movie to him.
And then I want to get your reaction to this, Reggie, because he talks about how Tupac didn't get shot in his head, that he got pistol whipped, and that he shot himself, and that everything is a movie to Tupac. That is, he got too comfortable with his life, and he's trying to act like everything is a movie. Did you hear this audio, and do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, y'all know I done told y'all I'm trying to stay off of Biggie. I kind of like Biggie through his mother, by way of his mother. Always liked his music. Always liked his music. But I just said his songs were not, or albums was not what y'all think they were. They didn't sell what y'all think they were. But a lot of the songs that y'all like prior to his last album, the double CD, were singles. Y'all just don't realize that because a lot of y'all too young to realize and too lazy to research that. But come on, y'all. We got him with the 13-year-old girl sitting on his lap and all of that, taking pictures. What did she say about what Biggie used to make people do when they walked in the house? What was it, John? What she said? I'll let you say it.
Yeah, the brother said that him and his sister went over to an apartment they were staying at, and that the rule of the house or the rule of the apartment was you had to wipe your feet on a T-shirt when you walked in, and the T-shirt was a Death Row logo T-shirt.
Okay. So a lot of y'all say that wasn't, he wasn't mad at Tupac. He was mad at Death Row. Okay, I'll give y'all that. All right. I want to keep explaining to y'all. You know, I know I repeat a lot of stuff and a lot of information y'all have heard, but I learned from Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is one of my favorite controversial commentators after Stephen A. Smith, right? Because y'all know I like sports a lot. I can talk to y'all about sports. Any of y'all that knows me, that really talk to me on IG and stuff like that, we can talk about sports all day. My boy Thomas Carter, my boy D Ham, my boy Johnny Coop, even AG. He said and listen, but he don't really like it. But John, you know, I even make John talk to me about sports. That's my passion. But he always said you got to repeat stuff and say it a couple of times. That's how people really hear it and comprehend it. So I'm going to repeat it again and just say that. So I'm going to reiterate and repeat and just say it again. That Tupac came home, he was hearing stuff in the prison and really felt and told Suge that he was going to come home and destroy Bad Boys as a record label and as a crew. And that was his thinking. But y'all got to understand that Biggie got on the radio and incited them to fire shots into his trailer, into the Snoop and them trailer. This Tupac came home October the 12th of 1995. This incident happened first part of December, last part of November. I can't remember. But that's less than a month and a half left. He hadn't recorded he recorded songs, but they hadn't been released yet to where Biggie and them crew knew. So Tupac took it like Biggie and them. Biggie is mad at Death Row now because they over there, because he's over there with them. So you're already in jail hearing all of this street talk about Biggie, and now he didn't come to the hospital and check on him, and he's sending word, you king of New York, and he's sending word out saying, hey, what's going on? You had some information for me. Where's that information at now? What information you was going to give me? And all of that. So you got to remember, he got all this in the back of his head. We know of the Big Jake situation. That was some Puffy and Suge shit from the Source Award. That's founded over from the Source Awards. Trust me. That happened in August, just so y'all know dates, of 95. Big J got shot and killed sometime in September of 95. So all of this is happening, but then they go to New York, and the first thing Biggie is on the radio and says this stuff and get their trailer shot. So now Tupac is like, they only doing this because I'm over here. Now everybody else want to go and now blame Tupac. Tupac the reason. Now he did some things. He, being who he is, he did the skit. We all know, you know, the Scarface skit and stuff in front of Two of America's Most Wanted video and all of that. Or Two of America's Most Gangsters or whatever the fucking song was called. He did all of that. But that's because he saw all of this. And he heard all of this stuff was going on. So everybody always, from Charlie to everybody always saying it was Big love Pac, Big did this. He bumped Pac music. He loved Hail Mary. He loved this and all of that. I'm just saying, no, people, not saying they didn't have a reason to be upset or mad or did, but it's bullshit. They had a problem with Pop and Death Row. But yeah, stop trying to just call a ball, strike. Big didn't give a fuck about Pac no more. He was mad. He was feeling himself. Now, of course, after somebody die and get shot and killed and all of that, you do feel a little different. We all done did it. I done been to many funerals where motherfuckers be, want to jump in the casket with the dude and all of that on the person. Oh, mama, I'm so sorry and all of that. That's what I always tell y'all. If y'all love somebody, really love somebody, clean it up. Work out that relationship if you really love them so you won't have no regrets because you never know when life's going to end. But I ain't going to preach to you youngsters. Y'all don't like when I preach. So I'm just saying, everybody need to stop that and saying that. I wish they would just say, hey, well, niggas was mad. Who knows? They probably be best friends or business partners today. But in 1996, 1997, that's how those brothers felt about each other. 93, 94, who knows how they felt. All accounts appears that they had love for each other. And today, hopefully, is July the 10th as well. And I want to wish my wife, my lovely wife, the lady that's been taking care of me, my caretaker, my lover, and all of that, a happy birthday to my wife, Teresa Guillory. Isn't she lovely? Don't y'all like that? Nice picture of her, right? But anyway, hi.
There seems to be like this new thing right now where artists are selling off their royalties for a lump sum payment. Like Lil Wayne did it, Dr. Dre did it. Apparently, Michael Jackson's going to do it. Can you explain why an artist would do this, and then second, do you think the Tupac estate would ever do that with his recordings?
Oh, John. You know I've been telling you this for about 3 months. There's a deal in the work for the Tupac music, y'all. I heard the number 600 million. Heard 600 million with the estate. All right. Damn. It makes sense. I would do it. I understand totally why Nelly just got 50 million for a portion of his songs, and y'all know his catalog. No disrespect to St. Louis and the Lunatics and all that. But his catalog not that deep, right? But he had a hot song. It's hot in here. I remember still seeing my son in a high chair bumping to his hot in here. He loved that song with the fire and shit. Every time I think of Nelly, I think of my son. Well, I used to just sit him in front of the BET in his high chair and he'd watch the shit out of that song. It's hot in here. He loved that song. But, hey, shit. Y'all think about this. Would you rather have $500 million right now for you to live and take care of and invest and designate the money to go to the appropriate family members? Or would you rather be like Prince and up and die? Or Tupac, up and die? And then people, and I'm not going to say that with Tupac because I really believe the way the money went is how Tupac would have wanted to go. Thank God Billy Gordon did the right thing and took his $1 million. His attorney got $300,000. He got his little $700,000. Thank God, because could you imagine if he would have still been 50-50 partners? But that's how it should have been. I always say Billy Gordon did the right thing because he, took the $700,000 and left. Actually, it was $1 million. But if y'all know anything about attorneys and their fees. But I go to say all of that to say, I think I would rather sell it right now, do the cash out while the companies are doing it, because we don't know how long they're going to be doing it. I heard Michael supposedly getting reportedly 900 million for his. Somebody else, all the numbers that are out there. I would do it. That would be my advice to anybody right now, because we don't know how long it's going to go. Now, on the other hand, we're going to be like, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, especially with this new stuff out there with AIM and all of that. Just like we didn't know about ringtones, we didn't know about downloads. All of that is new money to people from the 90s. And so you're taking that gamble. But if you take and invest that money right now, you living good, you continue to don't have to work as hard, maybe do some shows that you didn't want to do because you got this money in the bank and stuff now. And the most important thing I want to tell y'all is designating your money to who you feel is important in your life. And what you could do in a trust. But right now, this is what y'all got to work up. And what I'm going to hate. And I'm so glad I'm not a Washington Redskins fan. This is what y'all got to be weary of or leery of when you leave shit to your kids. Look who one day might be the owner in the Dodgers and the owner of the Washington Redskins. Yes, y'all, that's Magic Johnson's son, daughter. He's going to be running up and down the Redskins, acting like an owner one day. And I don't think Magic want that. I think he will probably want to designate that to something else. He don't want to have his son walking down there like that. He don't want to put his son in that jeopardy. But right now, if Magic and Cookie somehow tragically die together, that's who's going to be owning all this stuff that Magic are going to be, in partnerships. But Magic is smart enough to know sports world ain't going to like this. Maybe this son needs to own this, and this son needs to own that. My point, I know I went off base, to y'all is to show y'all, you go ahead and get the cash right now and stuff right now so you can designate the money to a person that meets what they doing. Any type of thing that Magic got going on with clothing designs and all of that stuff, yeah, that son can deal with that. But would y'all want that son to be the co-owner or whatever percentage Magic got into the Washington Redskins football team? The Los Angeles Dodgers, that soccer team that he has ownership in. I get it. Yep. Cash me out. That's what Daz did. He took the money because he didn't know about ringtones and all of that stuff. That's why he's fighting right now. But who knows what's going to be popular in 2050, 2040, 2030. Shit, 2024. Wish I did know. I saw something where if I would have bought in a Bitcoin, perfect example of things. You never know what's going to pop. If y'all know, please tell me, because I need to invest some money. I need to get back rich. I'm tired of talking to you motherfuckers on YouTube for pennies. Peace, phone first.
I wanted to see if you caught the BET Awards and if you had any thoughts on the show overall or any of the results that came from the show.
Man, y'all lucky Reggie Wright ain't out there no more. Reggie is a cripple now, and Reggie is out of the game like that, just doing shit from behind the scenes. I hate it. I mean, I hate it. I loved it what Busta did. Like Busta. I forget all the 18 bars or 16 bars he did. Was he an icon? I think I would have picked some others. I don't think Busta had enough singles, solo songs to be considered a 50-year or icon for that particular year. But hey, shout out Busta Rhymes. Been in it a long time. Love his maturity and his growth and the way he speaks as a 50-year-old plus man. Wish I could speak that way because it's all positivity. Love that about Busta. Love that. I understand the difference. I know a lot of y'all think I'm a chatty patty or full of shit or whatever. I get it. It's the people that don't know it and don't realize that you worry about. But Busta is doing a great job. What you don't like about it, Reggie? Well, you look in the crowd, and I'm trying to see, where's this shit at? Is this in Texas? Are we, where the fuck, are we in Atlanta? I hate that the South, no disrespect to the South, the East, the East comes out here on the West Coast, suck up our son and all of that, have award shows, and y'all know who we had at the award show? We had Warren G, Yo-Yo, my girl. The only thing positive that happened, because Yo-Yo is probably our best female artist in hip hop, in my opinion. And E40, representing the Bay, which he should have been. But my question is, where are the younger ones, like the Kendrick Lamar, for the young? Even the Game ass. Okay, that'd be debatable with a lot of y'all. You know, Blueface right now. He's the youngster that's hot from the West. Where is he at? That's within the 50 years, right? Okay, y'all say fuck all that. Okay, let's go to NWA. There's some of those members alive. Ice Cube. Snoop Doggy Dogg. Dr. Dre. Where they at? Where they at? That's West Coast. My whole point, I can name names, gold names. When you're talking about 50 years of hip hop, no, you can't add everybody because everybody had a run. Everybody had a good time. But to leave off and only have 3 people from the West Coast perform at a 50-year, award show, 50 years of hip hop, and I have a problem with it. I really thought I was watching something that happened in the South, to be honest. And I love the South. The West Coast wouldn't have been anything without the South. Y'all got to remember, y'all didn't really start hitting home runs until really Ghetto Boys. You know, there's some other people that did okay, but Ghetto Boys is what put the South on the map. Then Little Flip and, some people like that. Then, of course, we had the run. Y'all had the runs with the Cash Moneys and the Master P crew. And but that was my problem. That's my take. Even Nelly, we had to go with Nelly from the Midwest. Somebody. I just didn't like how they did that. Now, let's talk about a few of the warts. I'm glad people were smart enough to represent Death Row as the best, hip hop, I forget how that award went, was the best crew or label or something like that within that 50-year period. As far as labels, Death Row won that award. I think it was a bracket of about 30, and Death Row and Wu-Tang, because Wu-Tang has a big following, especially out of the country, to be honest, who I believe was voting for them. But people, if you was a Wu head, or if you was in that clan, you loved them. A lot of people love Wu-Tang. I'm not a Wu-Tang fan. I like a few of the artists that came from Wu-Tang. Really like Method Man. I love what Method Man doing right now on the Power series and TVs from The Wire. Love what Method Man is doing. Redman. Why did they kill Redman off on Power, y'all? We gotta understand why they changed him out of that movie. What happened? Did Redman get back on that? I don't know. Well, something happened for Red to get rolled out of that show for the second season. Did y'all catch that? But I'd love to know the history of that. Redman and Method Man love as artists and from the Wu and all of that. But yeah, congratulations, Death Row. Notice there was nobody there from Death Row to accept that war. I wonder who they would give that to. They give it to Snoop. I almost call him Snitch Dog. I didn't mean to say that, Snoop. But I do have evidence, as I've spoken of something before, of you being a snitch. I got paperwork, don't forget. But that ain't what I meant to call you. But Snoop Dogg, he should have been there. He was a part of Death Row from the beginning to the end. Dr. Dre could have been there, or Suge Knight. One of those three. Unfortunately, Tupac shouldn't have been there. But my question to y'all, answer it in the comment section. Would Death Row have won before Tupac, or did Tupac is the one that carried Death Row over the hump to win that particular war? Y'all debate it. We talk about it. Because Reggie Wright thinks we would have won without even Tupac Shakur. Bomb first. Peace.
Okay. Some people would say that you are a Snoop Dogg hater. I guess the question is, why are you always on Snoop, and why do you always correct Snoop? I guess is the best way to phrase that.
Well, y'all don't know about me. I'm a college buff, a college graduate, and a historian, and I don't believe in conspiracy. So don't y'all start thinking I'm a conspirator or I guess conspirator or somebody to believe in crazy stuff, because I'm not. But I understand rewriting history, and I understand why people do things. And a lot of people got mad with Kanye when he made that stupid statement about people chose to be slaves and all of that shit. When you start studying history books and stuff like that, you start questioning a lot of stuff. That's why a lot of y'all question the Bible, don't have faith and all of that. Because a lot of stuff is out there and you can always have an opinion about it. We do it every day in the comment section on YouTube, where we go back and forth on our opinions and stuff, where a lot of stuff don't be factual, or we heard it from one place. Rewriting history is prevalent. It's been something going on for a long time. And I'm not saying that this is factual. I'm just trying to show you an example of how things are out there, people believe. And I'm going to give y'all an example of something from my boy Prince. Y'all know he's one of my favorite artists from the 80s because of a song called Head. Head, doo, 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 doo. Y'all go check it out. First X-rated song or explicit song I ever heard in my life. When that came on the radio in the 80s, I thought, oh my God, can you believe this? This is on the radio. But anyway, you got to be a 70 baby or 60 baby to understand that. Listen to what Prince said. Not saying Reggie Wright bombed first or anybody agrees with this. Just trying to show you how when you rewrite history, how this brings up controversy. And if nobody corrects it, then you have shit like this out there. Not saying it's true or not, y'all. Remember that. Reggie is not saying this shit is true or not. But listen to what our boy Prince had to say.
found out there were 8 presidents before George Washington, I wanted to smack somebody. You know, I wanted to know why I was taught otherwise. Just tell me the whole story. I'll fill in the blanks.
Okay. This is one of the smartest guys that he's making the statement to that were out there in the 90s. And this was our BET first anchor. This guy, Travis Smiley, was the go-to for black folks for a long time on networks and stuff like that. That Prince is making a statement to. He's the one that called, well, our boy Russell Simmons called him Uncle Tom, or a house nigga. Forget what Russell said. But y'all see this, what Prince said? I'm not going to debate with y'all. I'll let y'all debate that in the comments. Well, any of that is true or factual, because I don't know. That shit's too deep for me. But with those words that Prince said and all of that, if any of it is true, if one of the things is true, look at how all of that stuff that we believe to be true about the presidents and about Barack Obama being the first black president, and all of that, that Prince kind of exposed and said, hey, this is what my research found. And this is what I believe. I know a lot of y'all telling me, Reggie, you're crazy, this bullshit. Reggie is not, or John is not advocating this either way, because we haven't researched it enough. Let me say I haven't researched it enough to know if what Prince said is right or wrong. But let's say he is right. That is nothing that we have ever learned in our school books or anything, or heard. It's not on the internet or anywhere other than wherever Prince got his research from. But my point is, when you put stuff out like that, other people hear it, they believe it. And if you don't have anything to go to say the con to it, then unfortunately with you young kids and the internet and social media and stuff like that, it becomes factual because so-and-so said it. Or this person said it. I done said stuff on this internet, and then somebody came behind and y'all agreed with me and said, oh, yeah. Then somebody come behind it and say something else, and then y'all be like, oh. And I'll be like, damn, you were disagreeing with me yesterday. I swear, it's like the last thing y'all hear becomes factual. And so I'm not trying to say I want to be the last thing to say stuff with Snoop. I'm just trying to give y'all another side of the story, or another opinion, or something else for you guys to evaluate and say, well, that sounds true. That sounds true. Well, that's some bullshit, or that's some bullshit. Not just because the ex-cop is saying it, or not just because my favorite rapper is saying it. Because I tell you all the time, Snoop Doggy Dogg is my favorite entertainer, performing rapper, still today. If Pac was alive, if Pac was alive, of course I would want to go see Pac because he's alive, right? But in 1995, when Pac and Snoop were alive, I'll even go back to 1996. Pac and Suge Knight said, Reggie, you can only go and hang out with one of them and go watch the concert. I would have picked Snoop Doggy Dogg. I know a lot of y'all will say, you're crazy, you're stupid. Go see Tupac. I'm just telling you where I stand. But that don't mean I can't correct him or say or disagree with him. John and I disagree daily on stuff. Y'all don't think I like John? Have love for John? Y'all crazy. So my point is, people can disagree or have difference of opinions on things. And it don't make you enemies or stuff. You just speak in your mind. Don't get mad at people and pissed off at people or turned off on people for speaking their mind or their opinion. Hear them out. Tell them your side. And then go and have a drink or a burger or I'll holler at you later. Not fuck you, Reggie. Not use an idiot, use a clown. Or John, use a clown, use an idiot. Don't That ain't what life is about, y'all. Let's hear each other out. Let's debate it. And then we go from there. It's all I try to do with this correction stuff. I saw Snoop Dogg today. I probably act like some of y'all. Well, I can't say it, but I saw Tupac. Because if I saw Tupac, I would be, woo. But that mean I'm in heaven. That mean I'm dead, right? But my point is, I would be like, okay, yeah, Snoop Dogg, Snoop Dogg over there, or whatever. Even though I talk shit daily about him. Not daily. Y'all say daily. I say about once a week. But yeah, that's why I'm against rewriting of history. That's why I hate rewriting, because of stuff like that and opinions like that. That's my take, John.
Okay. Can you talk about this thing that, artists are talking about, where there's this 30-year clause that you get your masters back? Because it doesn't make sense to me, because you take, for instance, Michael Jackson bought the Beatles masters, and they were upset, and I think some of them were still upset that he wouldn't sell them back to them, or that, they couldn't get them. Whereas if there was this 30-year rule, it would automatically go back to them. So I'm confused on this 30-year rule. And with your experience in the music industry, I just wanted to know your take on this.
Yeah, I think that's some one-time thing that will happen because of something, there's some contracts or something like that. I never heard it, I'm gonna be honest. A lot of people talk it, so I'm not saying it's not factual, but it'll be a lot of rich old motherfucker broke Slide and their families and all these motherfuckers would be rich right now, right? If that was true. It would be a whole lot of artists from Motown and all these record companies from the 60s and 70s would be bankrupt. Capitol Records and all of them, they would be given share. And all these people with all the music from the 70s and the 60s, it would be over. If that was true, I gotta get it. I'm gonna do that. I promised y'all, me and John promised to y'all, that we're gonna start doing music related stuff. And so I'm gonna finally start getting some entertainment attorneys on here and to reach out and explain stuff like that. But from what I know, it's not true. As far as master recordings, it could be something about writers or something like that. But I don't get it, don't understand it, don't know it. Don't know it, but if it was true, trust me, there'd be a lot of rich people out there and all these death row artists. Then why would Snoop and NRK and all of them want to own death row? Everything is 27 years old, right? 28 years old? Let's see, One Dog, when did The Chronic come out? 92?
92, yeah.
92? And so 30 years would have been, what, 2022? And so, and then how you split it up? How do you split it up? Do you, because these people had guest appearances and they had samples on there. That's what y'all don't understand. That's why I get mad at most of y'all, and I don't understand that when y'all always asking about why this person broke, why this person ain't got money, why this person. Let me tell y'all a secret, y'all. We give Puffy a bad rap, me, Reggie Wright, and everybody, for using samples. Sample king. Puffy outright just sampled the music. Tell y'all something about Tupac album. All Eyes on Me. The Chronic. Biggie's album. All those three albums I just named, if you can give me an album worth of songs on there that didn't have some type of sample in it, I'll shoot you a t-shirt. Keefe D gonna crack at me. He's like, well, nobody want no fucking fake ass Death Row East t-shirt. But y'all put that in the comment section, songs that don't have a sample in there. Y'all go and start debating among yourselves in the comment section how many songs there is with samples. Y'all gonna be surprised at how much Death Row sampled, Bad Boy sampled, all y'all favorite songs that are sampled in the 90s. And that's where your money come from. Your money come from, your publishing money and all of that comes from writer's credits. From the writer, 50%, from the producer, 50%. The hook on the writer side usually get 15 of that. So it's like 35% really of a song that y'all hear that probably is not sampled because somebody really sat down and wrote it. But generally, that beat that y'all heard, give you a perfect example right now so y'all can understand what I'm saying. That song, my girl, did y'all know that's Benzino? For those of y'all don't know, that's his daughter. Coley, what's her name? She got the hottest song out right now, one of the hottest songs out in the country right now. That song is a sample. Only thing she making off of that song, off that album, is the money from her performances, her shows. She ain't making no money off of that because they sampled 100% any of that song. But that's why we love her and we like it, because we already have familiarity to that song. And she blew up from it, made herself a household name that me and John don't know. I know it, I can see her face, I just can't pronounce it. She ain't making a penny off of that. But now we know who she is. Now she going to clubs and places like that and getting $15,000, $20,000 every 2 or 3 nights just to perform there, show up and perform that song. So, yeah, that's stuff like that. That's how the guys from the 30s or 20 years ago make money, because they making all of their money off of the song because of their writers, that producer. He loving her right now. Whoever produced that song back in the day, I even heard it on a commercial recently. That song is hot right now. It's popular right now. She brought it back. Not her. That producer that brought it in there and put it on there and said, get on this track, blew that song back up. So that's how the game that I know where people from 20, 25 years ago made money. There's new stuff. We're going to have to get a lawyer or entertainment attorney or somebody to come to explain to us. But I don't believe it. I believe there might have been one crazy judge, one case law. For the examples that I know, Urban Flavor and people like that are typing in the comment section right now, telling me, oh, so-and-so got their album back after 35 years or whatever.
Can you talk about this thing that, artists are talking about where there's this 30-year clause that you get your masters back?
Yeah, I think there's some one-time thing that will happen because of something, there's some contracts or something like that. I never heard it, I'll be honest. A lot of people talk it, so I'm not saying it's not factual, but it'll be a lot of rich old motherfucker broke Slide and their families and all these motherfuckers would be rich right now, right? If that was true.
Yeah, that's what throws me off is so the best way that we can relate to it to talk about it is how Dre got the Chronic back last year.
No. Oh, yeah, Dre got it back because...
it's his lawyer was quick to say, no, Snoop doesn't own the Chronic, and now Dre is doing this big promotion around the Chronic where they're selling merchandise and re-release CDs and tapes, and you can buy replicas of the reels and all that stuff on that Interscope site now. They still include the Death Row logo, but that's what throws me off is how did he get that album back?
I'll tell y'all.
It was exactly 30 years. Okay,
I'll tell y'all, it wasn't because of the 30-year rule. What happened with Dre is, when I was in there, this is why they fired my ass from E1 Entertainment. This is what happened. Dr. Dre left Death Row, right? And he left in the contract. The paperwork talked about how Suge ain't gonna never have to pay him any money and give him anything and all of that. You know, meaning the assets of the company at the time. David Kenner asked, either, because I always tell y'all, criminal attorney, not entertainment attorney or whatever. Fucked up. With David, you never know, purposely or not purposely. And left it where it didn't talk about royalties from the Chronic. It just talked about his part as a owner of the company, not as an artist or producer. And so I got a letter in like 2001, 2000 from his attorney. Sandy Fox was the main attorney, but that wasn't his day-to-day attorney. Forget his name. Howard King. Well, Howard King and I had a great working relationship because we was always getting sued, mainly when Laylaw and them sued us for California Love and stuff. And so he goes, Reggie, you know, y'all owe Dre some money for royalties from the album sales since he left the Chronic until now. I was like, no, Howard. Dre left, you know, he don't get nothing. So I go take it to Suge. Hey, Dre, no. Oh, that motherfucker don't get nothing. He know he left the company without no money and all that. But Howard was like, no, that's from making money off of his profit from the share of the company. Not anything to do with his royalties from the Chronic. And listen, oh, no. All right, we're going to sue y'all. All right, well, do what y'all got to do. Dre, hitting home runs now. Eminem and all of that. Dre like, fuck it. I ain't fucking with Suge. Dre never tapped that Suge. He always, because he knew Suge. He knew Suge good down from back in the day. He was like, left it alone, right? So Dre left it alone. All right, Suge, fuck it. Never sued, nothing. We never heard anything about it. So now E1 got it. Koch Entertainment got it. And then later on, E1 got it. Now the company goes through bankruptcy. Now all this money is making money, some new stream money off of ringtones and downloads, you know, streaming money. And so Dre like, hey, and the master recordings from CDs. Suge don't own it no more. So Dre don't give a fuck. Now he goes and sue E1 Entertainment. Hey, E1, y'all been over there collecting money. Y'all been the distributor since 2001 or 2002, actually, January 2002. And we want back pay for this album. E1 like, Reggie, hey, what's going on? I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I don't work with that nigga no more. Come on now, we still paying your ass. What's up? What's the paperwork? Well, we always, you know, this is what we believe and this and this. Well, where's the paperwork at? So I give them the separation agreement. Hey, Reggie, this contract don't say y'all don't have to pay for royalties on the Chronic or anything. It just says he don't make any money, but he still get his percentage, you know, for producing and working on the Chronic and all that. Well, we ain't paying that nigga nothing. But that's on y'all. That's y'all money now. So now all this money that's been generated, he didn't sue from 1996 until 2001 because it really was with Priority and Interscope. He wasn't fucking with their uncle, those his people. But he sued E1. So by this time, it's like $5 or $10 million that's owed to Dre. You know, from downloads and all of this stuff. And so this case went all the way up where they were in negotiation and in courts. I got fired in like 2018. So this went up to about 2017, 2018. And money is still being generated as well. And so what happened was, now it's looking like E1 owes Dre like 10 or 15 million dollars. And so they was like, oh man, 10 or 15, that small independent company for that chronic. They were like, oh. So they made a deal with Dre from a certain date to wipe out all that debt and gave him back the Chronic album from that date, whenever he got it from that period. Is what happened. So that's how Dre got the Chronic back. We still are giving back pay. They just gave him the album. Mind y'all, Dre offered, or Jimmy did, on Dre's behalf, in like 2001, 2002, he offered us $5 million. And I think it got up to $6 or $7 million to buy that album from Suge. But y'all know the hater. Nope. And so he could have sold that album for and got $5 or $7 million, but he didn't. Thank God he didn't, because who knew about ringtones? You gotta remember time limits, y'all. Y'all gotta understand. All people were making money off the Chronic then. Now, I'll be honest, we jumped back on the charts when what album came out? Chronic 2001. People start thinking about Dre again. As kids, like a daddy. So now you got this 13-year-old kid and that's loving Chronic 2001. But you this 30, 34, 35-year-old daddy, what you saying? Oh, nigga, fuck that. You should have heard Dre Day. Or this, when the Chronic. And so what people did is they went in, or you had lost your Chronic album. And so what you went and did, you started comparing the Chronic to Chronic 2001, and you went back and purchased the Chronic. And we did have a big boost in like 2001. Well, Chronic 2001 came out in 1999, but we did have a big boost in like 2000 from the sales of the Chronic. And so, yeah. That's the real politics behind the Chronic and why they got it back and what happened. It was all because of my boy Suge Knight's stubbornness to not want to pay or have a royalty department, to be honest. Paying people what they owe. And him believing that the contract was you walk away, you never get nothing again in life. But that ain't how the game go. Yeah.
Okay, Reggie. Can I get your reaction or opinion to the incident that happened in Lancaster with the sheriff out there?
Yeah, that seemed like it's going to be a big topic for the week. A lot of y'all get on bomb first because we don't talk about current events. And then, y'all know how I am with law enforcement and stuff like that. So we'll touch on it for a little bit, just for our naysayers, and try to talk on a current topic that's going on in the Los Angeles County area. So I'll give y'all background of this particular video. Matter of fact, John, I want to ask you to play it first. And then after we watch this incident, I'll give you a Reggie take, in my opinion.
Cell phone video showing sheriff deputies cuffing a man outside of a Winco grocery store in Lancaster last week. Moments later, a deputy approaches a woman who is recording the encounter. The woman telling the deputy, "Don't touch me." The deputy then slams her on the concrete. The man is frantic, screaming, "Don't slam her down like that, she has cancer." Another person recording the incident screaming, "Don't punch a lady," as the deputy struggles to cuff the woman. This on the heels of the man and woman being accused of shoplifting inside the store and store security escorting them out of the building where deputies took over.
So after y'all reviewed and watched that video, I know a lot of y'all kind of mad, especially the people that hadn't really saw it. And I'll give y'all opinion from the law enforcement, and then I'll give y'all opinion about me and my compliant bullshit. Law enforcement. So what happened and what the news is not telling y'all is the cops responded to a call of a robbery in progress because a clerk inside of the Winco grocery store hit a panic button that's y'all know about from banks and in grocery stores and restaurants and stuff like that that go straight to the police department when you're supposed to be having a robbery. That means somebody's inside really acting a fool, or a gun has been pointed, or a robbery, not no theft. It's a difference between a theft and then even the silent alarms, the burglaries, when late at night when the business go off. But they call these in California 211 silence, which are the code for a robbery in progress. The clerk fucked up, whoever pushed that button, because all it was some people that were apparently or allegedly this couple who they believe somehow, I don't know the reason or the why, shoplifted and stole the cake and was trying to return the cake. And so some little bitch ass nigga, probably one of you niggas or people in the comment section right now that panicked and got all scary and hit the silent button. But the cops don't know this, right? They respond to the store. And see, these people, because I'm sure the dispatcher called in the location and got a description of what's going on. But apparently it was just a man, because that's all they approached in the parking lot. And he was kind of complying. But now this is where it gets crazy. And I don't know, but I'm hoping this is why the cop reacted the way he did. Don't know this for sure. But the wife is doing what all of y'all do, which cops, I'm not going to say people, cops got to learn that it's okay. Why give a fuck? It's in their face with the camera talking about, I'm taping you, I'm taping you. Now, if he knows, and this is where y'all got to understand before people start rioting and getting all upset. If he knows that she's a part of this crime and a suspect in this crime, why is he hollering, turn the camera off, instead of just knocking the camera out of her hands and putting her handcuffs? That's how you're supposed to do it if she's a suspect in this crime. If you ask her and she's not doing it, why is he still debating with her to turn the camera off? So that's why it gets sketchy to me, playing devil advocate. Because if she's a robbery suspect and even find out to be a bullshitter's petty theft suspect, you knock the camera out of her hand and put her in handcuffs. But if she's just filming the way it appears because they're attacking her husband, man, this cop is wrong and needs to go to jail. All of this could have been avoided, while I always tell y'all to comply. Okay, sir, put my hands behind the back and turn off the camera. I don't believe we will even know about this incident. But how y'all like to do is confront cops and put cameras in their face. Is what's happening or what happened. So I'm just going to explain to y'all that, and cops, y'all got to learn about not being so mad and so, because people are taping you if they're in the right. But then I also got to tell y'all how situations like this can be avoided just by complying. You got to make the determine which person you want to be. If you want that person that just want to stand up for your rights, which I get if you're in the right, or if you want to be the person that want to walk away from situations with, okay, if the cop is man enough to say, I'm sorry, this is what happened, this is why I did this to you, and then understand. I've been in that situation on both sides, I'll be honest. One time I was at a bank when I was young with a crazy uncle, or a guy that was like an uncle in the van. My uncle and my father went inside the bank. Somebody saw a gun. If y'all know my daddy and guns, he's the most careless person in the world. And they saw the gun, they hit the robbery button, and 4 black guys about to rob the bank. 2 of them in the car, 2 of them inside the bank. Oh man, they came, Linwood Sheriffs on Imperial Highway. Came like bandits. Kicked us out of the car. Went in there, got my dad and them out, but they didn't ID them, saw that they were cops, had guns, badges and stuff. But they out there dealing with us like robbery suspects. Where my other uncle that was from the projects, Imperial Courts, he wasn't my uncle, I keep going, but he was dating my auntie, Thurman. That's crazy, yeah. Hey, rest in peace, Thurman. They were kicking him, and he over there going off because he's not cooperating, because he just sitting in the bed. No, like, what the fuck? What we doing? Y'all messing with us? He project nigga. So he like, fuck that. So I understand the compliant, not compliance situations. But I'm just trying to say, I try to educate. This is my education for the 2 weeks episodes. To try to educate. You got to make a decision. If you want to comply, not comply. Unfortunately, on this situation, it appears that she's a suspect. And so all these people that's going and rioting after the fact and taking over this Winco and calling all these press conferences and stuff, don't be surprised if it turns out that nothing's happened, because they were suspects in a petty theft, or definitely no more than just a petty theft. Wasn't a robbery, but some little geek in there got scared and pushed the robbery button, which I'm sure they're going to deal with his butt for doing that. But yeah, that's the current event for the week, and that's going on, that's big in LA right now. And just want to say, both sides, law enforcement, y'all got to learn y'all ain't above the law, and y'all can be taped while y'all doing y'all actions. I know crazy governor in Florida is trying to outlaw that or making it a crime, which I don't think it should be. Let me tell y'all, I think if you ain't doing nothing wrong or illegal, I'm talking about as the person that's filming with the camera, nothing should be wrong or done about that. I think that's totally a right that should be enforced. But if you are a suspect and you know you fucked up or did something wrong, comply, y'all, so we won't have incidents like that. Comply. Eventually, all they did was roll them a citation and let them go. After all of that, they just roll them a citation and say, you got to go to court on such and such a date. But comply. Wish James was here, because I know he'd be tearing me up right now. But y'all tear me up in the comment section. And if I'm not banned, because y'all be getting me banned, a lot of you motherfuckers be reporting me when I call y'all bitch ass niggas or something. If I'm not banned that day, I'll comment back and forth with you. Peace, bomb first.